Peace and love. I hope you're doing well. I thought I would come on and do a quick bird messengers reading. Let's go ahead and get started. I have my incense lit. I hope your healing is going well. I'm hoping to become a little bit more regular on my channel. Thank you for all the new people who have joined me here. This wonderful community that we're building. And it's a small community, and I think that's a beautiful thing. It's a small community of elite spiritual warriors. So I'm grateful for your presence. All right, Spirit. Thank you, Most High, for another day of life. Thank you for your truth, your power, your life force energy. Thank you, angels, for your protection and continual guidance. Thank you, ancestors, for your courage and your way and your knowing. Continue to guide me, continue to move me. Spirit, continue to guide us and to move us and towards higher being, towards our higher purpose. Thank you, bird friends, for your continual blessings. What messages do you have for us today as we move into our healing, or as we continuously move into healing, as we move into our purpose? Thank you, Spirit. And I'm just going to spend some time here just getting some energy into the cards, giving thanks. As you concentrate on what you would like to know from Spirit, so prayerfully there'll be a message in here for you. All right, let's see here. I just go until I feel like they're ready. The cards kind of give me a certain feeling. We have the Knight of Swords. So some things could be happening suddenly for us. Sudden revelations, swift movement, swift messages. The Knight of Swords is not necessarily an easy energy. Sometimes the Knight of Swords is like a wake-up call. That's the way I read it. The Seven of Wands, beautiful energy here. And we have the Page of Wands. So Spirit is saying that we're still waiting on movement. We're still waiting on news. The Page is bringing news and messages. All right. Just going to lay a few more just so I can get an idea. The Ace of Pentacles. So there is something tangible here that we're reaching for. The Ten of Swords. Spirit is saying that we still have to end some things in our environment. We still have to move away from some types of negative influences. It's right underneath the Seven of Swords. So Spirit is saying it'll be a breakthrough when these things end. So we're still making endings. We're still creating. And we're still moving forward towards endings. And we have the Knight of Pentacles. This is the hard work that we've put in. Give me a few moments. Underneath the deck, we have the Tower card, which is complete transformation. The endings due to faulty foundations. It's time to rebuild. And when we rebuild, we're going to rebuild with Spirit in charge. Give me a message. Thank you. All right, we have the Crow, which is a beautiful card. This is a card of mediumship, but this is a card of ancestral connections, working with those in the spiritual realm, being aware of the spiritual realm, being able to connect and receive messages. That's a powerful card. It's a magician energy. It's being able to utilize and understand magic. For some of us here, we can be in a situation where we feel like we are missing someone, or we're at a distance from someone because we have the Lovers card here. Maybe we're moving towards someone, or we're trying to move towards someone there with that energy. That can be a lover, that can be a friend, that can be a situation. It's whatever brings you happiness in your heart. Whatever's meant for you. Whatever you're looking at from a distance. And then we have the elephant bird. And so I'll have to read this. It's from the Ascension to Paradise. I've shown it to you a million times. It's one of my favorite decks. Both of these decks are. It's the bird cards. I'll show that to you one more time. They're out of print, but I still use them. This beautiful energy. And then we have the bower bird under here. This is one of my favorite birds, I will say, because this particular bird is about the home life and creating a perfect home for its mate. It's a beautiful energy, so we'll read a little bit about that too. So maybe somebody is looking for the perfect home. Somebody is looking for peace. They're looking for stability. They're looking for safety. They're looking for love. Find love within yourself first, though, right? But you're looking for that loving connection. All right. And then we'll look at the elephant bird. Did I show that one to you? Beautiful card. All right, so we're at a tower, right? The tower isn't necessarily a quick energy. The tower can be weeks, months, or years. The tower it can be you in the universe. The tower doesn't just come suddenly, though. The tower comes with knowing and understanding who you are and understanding your environment. You know if your foundation is faulty. You know if you're in a position where you're not able to access your true talents, your true gifts, if spirit isn't speaking to you correctly, if you're not at the right job, if you're not in the right relationship, if you're not in the right city, the town, whatever it may be, right? And so the tower is when we've built our foundations. It could be one story, it can be 20 stories, right? And so the tower can be built, for some of us, if we're able to rectify and know that we're building that tower on a faulty foundation pretty quickly, we can get out of it and say, wait a minute, and scrap it and say, thank you, Spirit, for the lesson. And then we can move on and try to start building the tower again once we've done that inner spiritual work. But some of us have built towers over years, right? And so this can be a 10-year cycle. This could be 20 years. Who knows how long? But as we're building these walls and we're building this foundation. The foundation is laid, and then we're building the structures, and we're moving on up and up and up, right? And so what happens with the tower is we realize that underneath the foundation, the steel planks or whatever you use to put it in, is something that's withering away, or for the most part, it wasn't built right to begin with. So some of the equipment, some of the tools that were used were faulty, or some of the tools that were used were not superior in their making, right? And so when we want to build spiritual foundations, we want them to be built with superior materials. The main superior material is going to be the spiritual self, the spiritual body. And so that means when you come into a situation, when you're creating anything, you're creating it knowing who you are. The foundation starts with you first. Your feet are firmly put on the ground. They're placed on the ground. Your heart is in check. Your mind is in check. Your spirit is in check, right? And so when you have that energy, that sense of self, that strength, that fortitude, right? When you have that, that's where the foundation begins. If you don't have those things in place, any foundation that you make, it still can be strong if you're learning and if you're growing along the way, if you're understanding the things that need to be done in order to create that firm foundation. But if you start it wobbly, right, and you never rectify it, and it goes up and up and up, still in this wobbly fashion, with you not knowing who you are, you not knowing what you're doing, you're not knowing the people that are around you. These are the readings that we talk about quite often. You're not understanding your environments, you're not understanding the messages that are meant for you, then your foundation is shaking. It's shaking as you're going up and up and up. And so what happens is when we have these shaky foundations and they're going up, when they crash down, because we haven't spent any time building any fortitude, we haven't spent any time building any of that spiritual strength or any of that spiritual knowing, then it's a devastating, it can become a devastating event, and it's hard to bounce back from. But even if you are spiritually strong and you come across towers, it's hard to bounce back from. But the strength to do it is just a little bit easier. The knowing that you have to do it is a little bit easier. So that's where we are here with this Tower card. Underneath the Tower, we have the Queen of Cups. So Spirit is saying that we have to use our intuition. We have to be able to tap into the inner knowing, the inner parts of ourselves, to know what's right for us. To not know what's right for this person or that person down the street, but to know what's right for us, because that's how we are able to access our true gifts and access our purpose here. So the Knight of Swords is saying that something is coming into your environment. It could be messages, it could be people, it could be circumstances. The Knight of Swords comes in swiftly, and to me, it's a harsh energy. Not that it's a bad energy, it's an energy that cannot be denied. It's something that comes into your life that causes a major wake-up call, or if it doesn't cause a major wake-up call, it causes a certain type of discomfort. It's a card that can bring a discomfort, but it's a discomfort that has to be acted on immediately. Right? The Knight of Swords doesn't come in and say, okay, take your time. The Knight of Swords is coming in like, what are you gonna do? 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 You know, it's kind of like that energy. It's, I've presented you with something. This is what it is. What are you gonna do? You know, it's not a whole bunch of time to think. So sometimes we have these things that come into our environment. It could be job loss. You know, hearing news about something like that. It could be something good too. It could be maybe you have to relocate, or maybe something has happened with your finances. It's a sudden energy, but it's a sudden energy that comes in and it brings a powerful change in what you were doing at that time. Right? Whatever the Knight of Swords brings in, because the Knight of Swords brings in the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is a sign of standing your ground and maybe having to defend yourself. But for me in this particular deck, the Seven of Wands is like a breakthrough. It's like things have been extremely difficult. Things have been hard, but at this moment, I'm going to push myself through this circumstance, and I'm going to create my own breakthrough. So whatever this information comes in, whatever this movement, whatever this energy is, it can be many different things when you place it into your life. It brings about a breakthrough in which you realize that whatever I was doing beforehand, whatever I was thinking beforehand is not the right way, and that whatever circumstance that I'm in is not the right one, and then it's up to me to push myself through it in order to make a major change. The Page of Wands is saying that the pages bring news and bring messages, but this bird is kind of sitting here. So this can be a change that you've been waiting for. This could be energy that you've been waiting for. And I see the ends of the feathers here. It's like fire on it. So maybe you've been waiting to set fire to something and start anew. We have the sun in the background, which is saying that, you know, even though this bird has been waiting, it hasn't been moving, it's waiting for news. That the sun is still rising, and that it's an understanding that beautiful things are on the horizon, even if we don't have them within our grasp at this time. And that also, too, we have the ability to burn away negative things in our environments, to burn away ideas, negative ideas that we have about ourselves. We have the power to set things afire if they need to be, right? To move it through a period of purification. And so that's what's happening here. There's a breakthrough at hand. And so Spirit is saying to be aware of that, and to be powerful in it. Be powerful in this breakthrough energy. You know, the thing about the Tower and the thing about the Seven of Wands, if we look at it as a breakthrough, there's always action and inaction. Right? The Tower comes in to say that the foundation is faulty. Let's bring it down. You can bring it down, or you cannot bring it down. Those things are your choices. Sometimes if it's really detrimental, the universe and spirit will help you bring it down. But if you're able to implement it on your own, you'll have a better understanding of the healing that has to happen as it's coming down, as opposed to having things ripped away from you and not knowing what to do, or not knowing the next steps to take, or not even understanding the healing that needs to be done, right? And so that's why we want to always put ourselves to be in a position of control, somewhat of control. We can't control everything in our lives, but we can control our spiritual movements. We can control the energy that we put out into the world. We can control the direction that we want our spirits to follow and to move into. So we do have some control. We don't want our lives to just be, we definitely don't want them to be controlled by others. We don't want them to be controlled by society. We don't want them to be controlled, we don't want to be on puppet strings. We don't want to live lives like that. We want to cut the puppet strings and say, Spirit, I might not know everything, but I'm ready to move knowing who I am, and I'm ready to move with power. You move with power when you're sure in yourself, even if you make mistakes. There's an opportunity here with the Ace of Pentacles. There's an opportunity for success. There's an opportunity for new beginnings. There's an opportunity for prosperity. There's an opportunity for growth. This is a spiritual lesson that's learned here with the Ace of Pentacles. It's a reward for spiritual lessons learned. It's the beginnings of something. It's that initial energy, that initial seed. The Pentacles deal with things that are in the present, or things that are tangible, right? So we're actually planting a tangible seed, and we're reaping a reward that we will see, right? One of the spiritual nature when it comes to the pentacle, but of the physical nature too. So there's an opportunity here for growth. There's an opportunity here for a new career. There's an opportunity here for a new way of living. There's an opportunity here for obviously a new foundation. This is the new foundation that we are working to build. And so Spirit is saying this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. But the Ten of Swords is here saying that there's still things that need to be cut away. There's still things that we need to end. There's still things that we need to walk away from. The Ten of Swords is an energy that's not an easy one. It's not just putting something down and saying, okay, thanks, it's been nice. The Ten of Swords is also like that Tower energy, where it's something that you've put mental thought into. When you're dealing with the tens, it's not just you, it's other people, it's other circumstances. So this could be leaving other people behind, right? It's a painful energy, not just for you, but for others involved. And so it's also can be a sudden energy too. It really depends on you. It can be a sudden energy, but it's an energy of something maybe being painful initially with the Ten of Swords, but it being healing in the long run. So you have to be powerful and you have to be brave in order to utilize that Ten of Swords energy, in order to move into it, in order to execute an ending like that. The Knight of Pentacles arrives after a while. It's a card that takes a long time, but it's a card of tangible energy. But it's you all along. It's saying that no matter what happened with this Tower, no matter what happened with this Ten of Swords, this breakthrough, there was something that I was creating. There was a path that I was on. There was something that I was moving towards. And so the Knight of Pentacles is here to remind us that after the dust has settled, after the Tower has come back down, Spirit still remembers, which is the inner self, the higher self. Your spirit still remembers what you were doing beforehand. Your spirit still remembers the intentions that you put into the universe and what you wanted to build. And so the Knight of Pentacles reappears saying that, okay, let's get back to where we were. And we don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. I haven't left you. Because even within the Tower, even within the faulty foundation, we've still been planting somewhat of a spiritual seed of knowing who we are, even in difficult circumstances. The Knight of Pentacles comes in and says that, we might have to start all over, but we don't have to always go right back to the beginning. Because when we have missions in life, whether we are working completely on them, our spiritual bodies and our spiritual selves, they know a little bit more. That energy knows a little bit more than we do. And so we still are somewhat on our path. So it won't be hard for you to get back on it, right? Once you realize that you have to let some things go, once you realize that you might have to bring the tower down and start the foundation again, the Knight of Pentacles is waiting for you, saying, okay, now we can move forward again. We can move forward again. And that is the breakthrough here. What you're moving towards with the Ace of Pentacles, I said, it's a new beginning. It's a prosperous beginning. It's powerful. It's spiritually led. It's a spirit-led beginning. The Seven of Wands and the Ten of Swords and the Tower, also these energies together also make me think of the ego death that we talk about a lot in the spiritual community. And what that is just how others have perceived us, how the world has perceived us, how we've created the persona based on how the world is perceiving us, how we've created our persona based on how others perceive us, how we have allowed others to dictate how we walk into the world, right? That's the ego. And we become these people. We become these statues. We become these whatever, this show. This person does this and this person does that and they're known for this and this is whatever. And so you are in this position where you're not able to step out of those boxes, or you're not able to step out of those descriptions that have been created for yourself, right? And so we want to be in the power to create our own descriptions. We want to be in the place to create our own and to walk and to be our own selves without the direction of others, with the direction of spirit and the higher self and our spiritual energies, yes, but not individual people, right? Not saying that we don't take direction, not saying that we don't seek advice, not saying that we don't look at others, especially ones that we know that they love us. We don't look at them with kindness and understanding, say thank you, and we're not able to implement some of that advice because spirit also speaks through others, and so we do realize that. But if your identity is directly related to something specific and it's hurting the inner part of yourself and you're not able to access certain things, then something is not right. That means we're moving too much in the ego. When the Tower comes in on the ego and when the Ten of Swords comes in on the ego, it's a situation where we might have to, it's a vulnerable energy. It's almost like if you just can picture somebody getting on their knees to pray. It's almost like, I feel like I've gone the wrong way. Spirit, please help me find out where I'm supposed to be. It's a humbling type of energy. When these things come in and they're stripped away, or when you found out that you've built something on a foundation and the foundation is stripped away, right? Or when the Ten of Swords comes in and something happens. These situations, they come in to humble us, right? They come in to make us realize that we don't have control over everything. But they also come in to make us realize that there are higher powers at work. There's more to life than what we see. There are important things that we need to do that we might be neglecting. We might be neglecting ourselves, right? And so these energies come in to take away some of the physical things, if they're physical, if it's money, if it's job loss, or if it's, status loss, these things that we've held on to, then we have to start with the clean spirit. We have to start with a clean heart. We have to start with a more gentle self, if that makes any sense. But like I said, the Ace of Pentacles is here after the Seven of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles is here. So Spirit is saying the reward is here after the work. The Seven of Wands and the Ten of Swords and the Tower, these are working cards. These are major spiritual energies. These are things that you should be rewarded for if you're able to make your way through them. The Crow here is saying that you need to trust your spiritual sight, your spiritual vision, the vision that you had before everything with the Knight of Pentacles. the vision that you had for your spiritual work, the vision that you had for your life, all existence, Knight of Pentacles. And so the crow is saying that you need to access that initial spiritual knowledge. It could be through meditation. It could be in your dreams. It could be just sitting and listening and talking to yourself. It could just be saying, ancestors come to me at this time and put me on the right path. Put my feet back on the right path. This card here, the crow works with ancestral energies. The crow works with spiritual energies. It doesn't come up for just any other reason. This is saying that you have the ability to access these energies. You have the ability to work with the energies of the departed. So we're working with our ancestors. You have that higher knowledge here with the crescent. You're learning here. There's still more to learn. We have the fire in the background, this flame of knowledge. And Spirit is saying that you have the knowledge. You have the ability to purify your life here with this flame in the background. Sometimes we have to be responsible for our own purification. Sometimes we have to, like I said earlier with that bird, we have to set things afire. We have to do it. In the spiritual life, in the spiritual journey, you go through the fire, right? I don't know if anybody understands what that feels like, but it's almost like these cards. It's the Ten of Swords. It's the Tower. It's definitely the Tower. It's the Seven of Wands. It's not the Tower. It's not the Seven of Wands. It's not the Ten of Swords if you're not in tune with your spiritual body. It's just things that go wrong. It's just things didn't work out for me, right? It's that type of energy. But if you're a spiritual warrior, which you are if you're watching this, then it's purification through the fire. My eyes are watering up because it's a very powerful energy. It's a loving energy. Spirit doesn't leave you. The Most High doesn't leave you. Your angels are with you. Your ancestors are watching, but they've been through the fire in many different ways, right? And so they only really can watch you go through the fire. There's nothing that can be done at that time. It's a scary feeling because you look around and you're in the fire alone. A lot of times you're on your own when you go through these. Some people will call them the dark night of the soul, that type of thing. It's a complete burning away of something that you thought. It's burning away out of a layer. I've gone through moments where I felt like I would just turn to ash. It's like, do you want me just to be ash? And then sometimes you have to be ash, right? Sometimes you have to just be the smallest bit and find power in the smallest bit of yourself as you rebuild yourself back up stronger. It's burning your way down to the smallest bit and coming back even more powerful. This only can be done if you have spiritual strength. Like I said, if you don't have it and you end up in these tower situations, when you go through the fires of life, those spiritual fires that are meant for ascension, they're meant for taking the spirit into the higher elevations, higher levels, taking the mind into the higher levels, being able to access who you were beforehand. That's what it's all about. Who you were beforehand. What was your mission beforehand? What did Spirit have you doing beforehand? The only thing your spirit, the Holy Spirit, the ancestral spirit, the only thing these spirits want to do is to get you to remember who you were beforehand and what you said you were going to do. And so we can be in situations where in order to build that spiritual strength up, in order to walk with power, in order to be a warrior, in order to be able to be out on the front lines, and I'm not talking about actual war, I'm talking about spiritual warfare. I'm talking about being able to interact with spirit. I'm talking about being able to touch somebody spiritually, daily, weekly, with word, with a smile, with the energy, the energetic body. I'm talking about that. We are energy. We're pure energy. When we walk out, we are who we are. If we are walking in power, then we're taking that powerful energy with us. Others feel it. They might not know exactly what it is. They might not be like, oh, that person is powerful. That person is a warrior. It's not about that. Because true spiritual warriors don't have to tell anybody who they are. True spiritual warriors just walk in the light, right? But you don't become a warrior just by skipping through. You become a warrior by being ground up. And I don't mean it in a negative way, but it means that you have to be taken into the sweetest part of yourself, or it has to be an energy of being humbled completely. Humbled completely. If you understand what I'm saying, I'll have to explain it more, but it's a painful energy, it's a powerful energy, and it doesn't just happen once or twice. If you're on the spiritual journey, then you'll be taken through the fire quite often. And so that's just the way it is, and we give thanks for it. But that's what this energy is to me. The Tower, the Seven of Wands, the Ten of Swords, it's going through the fire, the spiritual fire. And then we have the Crow here saying that while you're going through the fire, you know who you are. Your spirit has always been powerful. Your spirit has always been strong. Your ancestors have always been with you. Your spiritual guides are walking and protecting you. Let's read a little bit of the Crow. Crows are bearers of messages from other worlds. They have reputation for being messengers of doom. But they don't deserve this. They are simply the carriers of guidance from friends in other dimensions. They are associated with protection. If a crow makes its presence felt to you, take time to stop and welcome it. If the crow resonates with you as a symbol, then you are a strong personality with esoteric interest. You may well be functioning already as a medium, transmitting messages from the astral plane to people in need of guidance or comfort. Even if you are not actively doing this, you have to have the undeveloped potential for this kind of work. And so this is also saying that somebody needs to talk with you too. Somebody in spirit is reaching out to you, trying to help you, trying to move you forward. But sometimes they need our help as well to implement things here on the planet. That's what we're doing here spiritually. We're working in tandem with spirit. We're working in tandem with our ancestors to move things forward, to move stagnant energies forward, to move them and clear them away. Right. Let's look at the elephant bird here really quickly. And then we'll pull auspicious symbols. If you're in the middle of going through the spiritual fire right now, I send you my love and I commend you. You know, you'll come out stronger on the other side. It's a powerful energy. It's important. The elephant bird. I ask the overriding consciousness of the elephant bird to be with me now as I move from the old into the new. Help me to make this transition with grace and ease. The elephant birds are an extinct family of birds belonging to the order of the rattits. The rattits? I don't know. Rattites? I don't know. The collective name for all flightless running birds of the world. They include ostriches of Africa, the rays of South America, the emus, and the cassowaries of Australia, and the kiwis and the extinct moas of New Zealand. Sorry. Remains of the elephant. Oh, hold on. There are remains that have been dated as far back as 60 million years ago. The great elephant bird of Madagascar was the largest of all birds to have walked upon the earth. It stood up to 3 meters high and weighed 2 to 4 times as much as an ostrich, which it resembled. Great elephant bird eggs were the size of watermelons, and they are still found buried in the beach sands of Madagascar. Actually, this doesn't say watermelons. It says maddermelons. which I've never heard of before. The overriding consciousness of the elephant bird has moved through many different forms in its long passage through time. Extinction of the physical expression of a living organism does not mean extinction of its consciousness. The consciousness moves on and expresses itself through a new and possible more dynamic option. The overriding consciousness of the elephant bird is the same consciousness that expresses through all the radites. I guess it's just called radites. Although each of these flightless running birds has its own more individual expression, they all essentially carry the same strength, the ability to move from an old perspective to a new one. The overriding consciousness of the elephant bird is the ideal energy to work with when you are shifting from one state of being to another, where this requires adjustments and reorientation. This can be physical, perhaps moving house or country, emotional, as the end of a relationship or the beginning of a new one, or spiritual, when one is at the cusp of initiating into a new level of consciousness. In any situation where you are releasing an old way of being and allowing in a new one, you can call on the overriding consciousness of the elephant bird to be your companion. You will find that you can gracefully release the old, giving full acknowledgement to all that it has accomplished for you, and then move into the new peacefully. And so that's what we are. We're moving into new consciousness with the Tower card. Right? Spirit is with you. You are with yourself. Your spiritual insights are with you as you move through it. That's a powerful card. And let's look at the bowerbird because it showed itself along with this lovebird too. So some people are trying to move towards others here with this energy because it was on the bottom of the deck. So it's important. These are like relationship cards. So finding soul families, finding your mate, finding, your spiritual helpmate, soulmate unions and things like that, which can be whatever it means for you. Let's look at the bowerbird. And then I apologize if I had to, I might have had the names wrong for the elephant bird, the names I was using in the book, but I'm human, All right, so the bowerbird. Bowerbirds are found only in northern Australia and New Guinea. They can be brilliantly colored and are closely related to the spectacular birds of paradise, also found there. What distinguishes the bowerbird is the male bowerbird's ability to create and decorate a courtship bower, within which he performs elaborate courtship rituals to attract the female, and where mating eventually takes place. The golden bowerbird of northern Australia, it just tells a little bit about that. Let's see. Here he plants mosses around the walls. He hangs pretty flowers and leaves, and on the ground he creates little decorative heaps of different colored berries, bits of resin, snail shells, and shiny objects. Other bowerbird species daub the inside walls of the bower with bluish or greenish coating. Nowhere else in the animal kingdom does this sophisticated level of decoration and design occur. Bowerbird energy speaks of passion between people and the passion to create beautiful things. Passion taps into the creative force of the universe and is the energy of manifestation. Passion creates. If you have chosen the bowerbird card today, then life is reminding you of passion. Who are you? You are a passionate being born to create, born to be a creator. You are made in the Creator's image. That is your task, to learn to be creator too, and have fun in the process. Life is also about play. Be playful with your passion. Look around you and see the sense of humor that shines from the Creator's playground. And with this card and the bowerbird and the Tower card, it means that someone is looking for their true home. Someone is looking for a place that brings them comfort and brings inspiration. And so that's a beautiful energy with those things. One last card and we'll end it. As we're moving into this new consciousness, as we're allowing things to fall away with the Tower, as we're bringing it down on our own, as we're seeing what's around us and wanting more for ourselves, as we want our spirits to take charge and be front and center in our movements in life, what message do you have for us? The fortune cookie. Ingest the sweet and helpful advice that is placed in front of you. Follow what leads you. And that's the stick here. All right, until next time. Continue to be strong as you move forward your spiritual journey and your healing. Continue to move strong as you move through spiritual fires. Don't be afraid to set things aflame. Don't be afraid to walk. Walk with spirit. Walk as your true self. Don't be afraid to initiate change in your life, right? All right, take care.